really want to take you along with me this weekend whilst I cast on a new gift knit that I want to make this year, which is going to be the Sophie Hood by Petite Knit. And I made it earlier this year, and I think it took me about 2 weeks of knitting whilst, you know, working during the week and then just knitting in the evenings and during the weekend. And I think if I really focus on it, I might be able to get away with knitting it just in a weekend. So I thought it would be fun to see if I can. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna time, or like I'm gonna start the timer every time I start knitting and pause it when I'm not knitting, and we're gonna see, you know, how many hours I'm gonna put into knitting this weekend and how far I can get in this project in that amount of time, because I think that'll just be a bit interesting to know. I always love, you know, kind of timing how long a knitting project takes me. As you know, I always try to tell you guys how many days it was on my needles, but obviously I don't knit the same amount of time every day. It depends on if I'm working, if I'm, you know, doing something, if I've got friends and family over, and, you know, stuff like that. So I think it is going to be interesting to see, you know, exactly how many hours, minutes and seconds it takes me to knit a project. I might not get around to finishing it this weekend. Honestly, I think it's a bit too ambitious, because I mean, it's just a scarf, but it is a pretty big one, and last time it took me 2 weeks. So in about 24 hours, how much knitting can I get done, you know? But we'll see. So the yarn I'm going to use is Snefnug, which is going to be my first time using this yarn. It's by CaMaRose, and this one is in the colorway Askegra, I think. 7310. So this is a 55% baby alpaca, 35% organic cotton, and 10% fine merino wool, and it's one of those like chain knit yarn. So I'm really excited to also see the difference in, I don't know, the texture, the filling between my own Sophie Hood, which was in the Eco Cashmere Vintage by Gepard Garn, and in this yarn. And, you know, the colors will be different and everything. So let's go ahead and cast this on. About an hour in, I think 48 minutes, and when I say that, I mean just knitting time. And, you know, it's going by quite quickly. the yarn is really fluffy, it's really quite soft. It's really nice to knit it in a light color because I can really see the increases more easily, like in my own scarf, which was in a dark brown, could not see the increases. So, you know, having to check where, if I was on the right side or the wrong side was a bit tricky. Whereas I feel like with this one, I can just make sure I'm doing it on the right side, even though I also have my notebook in which I write down all of the rows because I'm crazy like that. But yeah, it's going by, you know, I mean, it's just 1 hour of knitting, so it looks tiny for now. And I didn't talk about the elephant in the room, but I am wearing my newly finished object, which you'll hear more about in my next podcast. And then the week after that will be the project vlog coming out. So if you're interested, stick around for that. But let's go back to this. A little while later, so we are almost up to 2 hours of knitting, and you know, this is where I'm at. So I mean, a bit of progress, happy with that. Still on my first skein. I forgot to mention, but I'm actually knitting size medium, which is the second size in the pattern. There's 3 sizes in total. One is small, and then medium, and then large. And the only thing that's different about each of them is only the length of this, not the hood itself. The hood is always the same number of stitches. So I do find that kind of sad in a way, because I feel like, you know, not everyone has the same head size, and I just wish there was at least a schematics of like the size of the hood, of the finished hood, so that you could decide, oh, actually I think I want it to be a bit bigger, and so you could figure out, you know, based on that schematics, the measurements that you want for your own version. Whereas I feel like because there's no schematics, you don't know, well, first of all, you don't know how much yarn that hood is going to take, but also you just don't know the finished measurement. And so you kind of have to knit it at least once to know the measurements, which I guess I could try to put up the measurements of my finished hood on the screen now, so that you know how mine ended up looking. However, I don't think I'm getting exactly the right gauge as Petite Knit, so do bear that in mind. But I'm going to be knitting the exact same size as I did for myself, which I think, to be honest, I think even that one is a tiny bit small. I would have liked these ends to be a bit longer to be able to wrap it up around my neck even more, but I did have one full skein left over, and so I think I was just too scared of running out of yarn, and it was an expensive yarn for myself. So I mean, I think I could have lengthened it a bit. So for this one, because I don't really remember the amount of yarn it took for my hood, like really the hood part, I'm hoping I can really stretch this yarn out and hopefully make it as long as possible, but still have enough to finish the hood. So, I mean, we'll see. I'm kind of eager to know, like, because also Petite Knit, when she gives you a yarn estimate, she also kind of gives you enough also to make a swatch, and I'm not making a swatch, so I have that little bit of leeway, I guess. If you can hear, by the way, my, like a little bit of wood crinkling, don't know how to say that. That's my candle, which this is a candle that I loved. I think it was one of my sisters who gifted me this one this past Christmas. This is the wood wick and smells so nice, but also it's got that wick that's got like that makes the wood crinkle, which I really love. And it's supposed to be raining anytime now outside, so I'm really looking forward to cozying up on my bed. I might go downstairs after a bit, but cozying up on my bed and just listening to the sound of that wood crackling and just drinking my coffee, knitting on the scarf. I think we're in for a good afternoon. So it's a little bit later. We're up to 3 hours and 30 minutes of knitting. About. This is where we're at. Oops. So, you know, pretty good going. I think I'm almost, or a bit over halfway through the increases before I start the hood. So hopefully I can reach the hood part tonight sometime. But I mean, it's kind of crazy because it's only been 3 hours and a half, but also I feel like I've been knitting for 6 hours. So time really does fly. You know, even though I'm having a lot of fun knitting, obviously. But I wanted to talk a little bit, whilst I'm knitting again, about hoods and why I chose the Sophie hood. So before I forget, let me start the timer again. It's going now. So I really loved the look of the Sophie hood when I first saw it earlier this year when it came out, or like even before it came out. I really enjoyed the look of it. And what I really like about it is that it's not just a hood, but it's also a scarf. Like, you don't have to wear a separate scarf whilst you're wearing the hood, but if you sort of just want to wear the hood, then you can just, you know, drop the hood. I'm getting confused now. If you just want to wear the scarf, you can just put the hood down, and I think it looks really cute as well with the hood down, and I really love the shaping of it. Now, as I said, it's just got one hood size, so it's not gonna fit everyone. For example, I have a friend who has pretty like bushy, I think that's the word, like curly hair, and so with her hair, like, it's just not really going to fit well. But because I myself have pretty thin non-curly hair, it fits pretty well. So that, I think, can help you choose which pattern to make. A few other knitting patterns that I like the look of but I didn't choose are I love the Alex scarf by Knitting for Olive. I think that looks really, really cute. I think it's 2x2 ribbing, which I really love the look of. And again, it's a scarf, so it's got that versatility, but it's knit on much thinner needles. I think it's knit on 3.5, I want to say, or maybe even 3. And Sophie Hood is knit on 5, and to reach gauge or about, I'm knitting on it on 5.5, so it's going by much faster, obviously. And because it's a gift knit, I honestly just don't want to spend 2 months knitting a scarf for someone else, to be completely honest, especially because this is not my only gift knit this season, so spending, I mean, we'll see how long it takes me. But in terms of just hoods, I really, really love the look of the Lily Bonnet by Knitters and Friends. I think that looks super cute. I love the thin straps. I think they're made in double knitting. I'm not sure, I don't have the pattern in front of me, so I could be wrong, but I love the look of it. And I love, yeah, as I said, I love the thin strap that you can like tie into a bow. I think that's super cute. There is a pattern which I think I had mentioned before called the, oh, I've forgotten now, the Dojo Hood or something like that. I'll put it on the screen. That I really love the look of as well, and I think the designer has knitted a few other hood patterns since then that I also think are super cute. So you've got like, I think hoods are very popular at the moment. I know Cordova Kika has some patterns that are really, really stunning as well. I think she has one that's called like the Grandma Core or something like that. I don't remember, but it's really cute, but it's lace, so it's cute, but it's not practical, I don't think. I'm all for practical knitting, to be honest, like things that I would actually wear, because if I'm spending the time, I don't want it to just be pretty, I want it to be pretty and useful. So yeah, I hope it makes sense why I've chosen this pattern over any other. Also, just because it's a gift knit, I already had the pattern, so that's just one less expense to make as well. And this is just so mindless to knit, you know, you're just basically knitting knit stitches, no purling involved. The I-cord edge is, you know, knitted as you go along, which I really, really like. And the increases are really easy. Obviously the hood part is going to be a little bit fiddly, but yeah. Oh, there's also the Mia hood, which I knitted earlier this year, which is a pattern by PetiteKnit, which I test knitted for her, which is really, really lovely, but it's brioche. So first of all, I already have a brioche product on my needles at the moment. I'm kind of over brioche this year, even though I love it, but also it's not as mindless, I would say, just because of that knit stitch. But it is very squishy, very lovely. I mean, if you're like going for it and want something that's very, very squishy, yeah, I can't think of another word, I would definitely go for that one, because brioche is just, I think, the most comfortable thing to wear. It just makes for such a cozy knit. I mean, I feel like even in this yarn, the Mia hood would be really, really stunning. You would have to see with the gauge, because I think I knitted it on DK plus lace, so I don't know if that would be a good substitute, but I think you could go for it, and I think that would be really pretty. Now that I'm thinking about it, I really like that idea. But anyways, it's getting kind of late, so it's 4:20 p.m. and I don't know about you guys, I don't know if you have this, but in France we have this snack time called a Goûter, which is usually for like when kids come back from school. They have their Goûter at like 4:30. I'm not a kid anymore, but I do still have my Goûter every single day, because, you know, why not? And so I'm gonna go eat something, have a cup of tea, and then go back to knitting. shower, and I thought it would actually be kind of fun to show you my skincare routine. Not that I do anything crazy, but I do really like to take care of my skin when I can and when I'm not lazy. And to be completely honest with you, I was kind of lazy this past week, so my skin is kind of a mess. It's obviously not terrible, but it does need some care. So I mostly use French products, so I don't know how accessible any of these brands are to you, but maybe you can find something that is interesting to you. I hope so. So I always start by washing my face. I use this Caudalie product, which is the Vinopure range, and this is like the face wash thing, and I always use it with my Foreo Luna 2, which I bought, I mean, I want to say 10 years ago, but that is a bit scary to think that I've had this for 10 years. But I really love this product, and I can really tell the difference in my skin when I use it versus when I don't. Like if I just wash my face just with this on its own, it's really not the same. So let's do this first. To use a face mask, because I can really also tell the difference when I use face mask and when I don't. And as I said, my skin right now is really in need of hydration. Don't know if you can see how dry this is, especially my forehead, because I have a fringe, and so when I put my cream on, I can't really do it in the morning under my fringe. I have to do it at night, otherwise my fringe looks like a mess. So I'm gonna be using my new Foreo UFO 3, which was very kindly gifted to me by Foreo, and I'm gonna use one of their H2 overdose masks to hydrate my skin really deeply, and then I'll use my other skincare stuff. I feel like this product is perfect when you want to have like an at-home spa day and you really want to take care of yourself, of your skin. You want to do all of the things that make you feel so much better once they're done, but like whilst you're doing them also. So as I said, I'm going to be using this face mask, and we are going to see my skin be so hydrated. It's going to feel so much better because right now it's really pulling. Once it's on there, I just have to either use the app that's available to follow the directions, or I can just use it on its own. And I really want to use the directions from the app because I just think that's a little bit more elevated, if you know what I mean. So let's do that. That feels so nice against my skin, because the device warms up, at least for this mask, to really help the moisture rest well on your skin. So that feels so lovely. I'm gonna wait a few more minutes before I put any more products on it, but whilst waiting, why not tell you about the incredible deals that Foreo have on their website for Black Friday. So with my code, which will be linked down below as well as on the screen here, you can get 30% off. This 30% discount is stackable with any Black Friday offer. So if you want to get yourself a treat for this upcoming holiday, for Christmas, for Black Friday, and you want your own at-home spa day, I highly recommend this product, or even any of the Luna I think it's the Luna 4 is the latest one. This one that I've had for ages is quite old, but I think it still works really well, and I would assume that the Luna 4 works even better. So yeah, you can click on the link in the description to get 30% off any of the products if you want. Okay, the next step is more hydration. This is the Lotion Tonique Hydratante by La Rosée. This is also a French brand. I've been using this only the past few weeks and I'm honestly not that convinced about it, but I mean it feels nice on my skin, so I am going to finish this product, but it's just, I don't think anything special. What's really nice though is that you can just spray this on, so it's really easy to put on, but I do feel like because it is just spraying it on, it doesn't feel as though it works as well as other products I've used before. Then we have another Caudalie Vinopure product. This is the serum, which I think really does wonder. Like, I can really tell the difference when I use it versus when I don't. So this one is definitely part of my routine and it feels really nice against the skin as well. The Vinopure range isn't for hydrating skin actually, but I've tried their hydrating range before and I find that just really does nothing for my skin, whereas I feel like this, for some reason, which I think is for acne, and I don't have acne, but I don't know, it works. Next up, I'm either using this hydrating lotion from Embryolisse, which is also what I use to remove my makeup, or I use the La Rosée hydrating cream, which as you can see is almost empty. I'm gonna buy this again because it feels really nice against the skin. I think it's hydrating enough. Between those two, they're pretty similar in terms of hydration, but I love the scent of this one. Also, don't forget your neck when you're doing your skincare. And the last two steps. The next one is this cream that I put under my eye from La Rosée as well, which again I don't see a difference. You can see I've got pretty big bags under the eyes and this does nothing, but I mean it feels really nice. I just don't think I'm gonna purchase this again, unfortunately, but I haven't been able to find like an eye cream that I feel like does anything for me. And lastly, I'm not going to put it on now because I usually just put it on before sleep and it's before dinner, so I'm not going to do that. But I always use this lip balm from Laneige, which I put on my lips before sleep for the whole night, and it really helps my lips not be too dry. My fringe is always such a mess after my skincare, but that was my skincare routine. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, let me know. Yeah, let's go back to knitting. It's been 6 hours of knitting. So I think I'm gonna stop there. My arm is starting to hurt a little bit, so I don't want to push it. But this is where I've ended up. I think I've got about 8 increases more to do, but I'm almost done with my first skein, but I've still got that left over. So I mean I knitted through a whole skein almost, so that's pretty good. And obviously, you know, you increase as you go, so it takes more time to knit one row, but I'm pretty pleased with the progress on this. I honestly did think I would reach the hood tonight, but knitting always takes longer than you think, doesn't it? I think I'm actually going to end the vlog here because I'm pretty tired and I think tomorrow I would I should really focus on knitting on some other things, like other needle size, to make sure my arm doesn't hurt more. And so I will show you the progress on this in the next podcast. So if you're interested to know like exactly how long it takes me, I think I might try to keep timing myself for this knit. So yeah, do subscribe to the channel if you're curious to know exactly how many hours this takes me. But I'm really loving the squishiness of this yarn. I think this feels really nice, and I think this is going to be a really cute piece. Also, apologies for my fringe, I still didn't wash it and like make it look neater, and also I feel like with this turtleneck I look a little bit like Steve Jobs. But hopefully you don't mind. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this vlog. Thank you so much for coming along with me. I hope you had some knitting time as well. I hope that me timing myself, showing you like how much I'm knitting in a day, helps you to understand like maybe why I'm knitting so much or so quickly, and that you don't feel bad about maybe not knitting as quickly or as many things as I do, because I do spend most of my time knitting, to be honest. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.